Hi everyone, I'm back again with another comparison video for you guys. First, I'd like to apologize for the clutter in the background because if you've been following me, you know that there's been a lot going on right now. I also run 2 online stores. Haven't got everything listed. I don't have room to store everything, so I'm a little behind. So please bear with me. But today I would like to compare the authentic versus replica Louis Vuitton Etoile shopper. It's spelled Etoile, and I've been mispronouncing it for years as Etoile shopper, but it's actually pronounced Etoile. That's French for star. So take a moment to drop in the comments below which bag you think is authentic or replica, the left or the right. If you thought that the bag on the left is the replica, you're 100% correct. It was actually my first replica. I wanted to try the one-to-one mirror image made from same or similar materials. The Etoile shopper is long discontinued by Louis Vuitton. I remember when the bag first came out in like 2008 to 2010, I believe. But anyways, it was $3,000 brand new, and as a young mother, I couldn't afford that, or just couldn't allow myself to drop that much money on a single bag for myself at the time. I did purchase the authentic recently, pre-loved on eBay, because I found a really good deal, and she was sent to an authenticator before she was sent to me, so she is authentic. However, when I purchased this bag a very long time ago, I knew how to authenticate it just by looking at the buckle. Rather a small detail on the buckle. And that will allow me to immediately authenticate these types of bags from the Etoile line. Because the ones with the buckle from the Etoile line, you pretty much have the same buckle. I did not notice that the replica buckle was a slightly different shape and slightly larger than the authentic until I had both bags side by side. But I always, for many years, knew this little trick on how you can authenticate this bag, because you can only find them pre-loved or pre-owned now. So there are lots of these beautiful replicas listed as authentic when they're not. So pay attention to the buckle, and particularly the Louis Vuitton part of the buckle and the studs on either side of the L and the N. Notice the placement of those studs in relation to the letters L and N. Now notice it on the replica buckle. The studs float a little bit above the L and the N on the replica, and the studs are below the L and the N on the authentic. The authentic is gold-plated brass hardware, and both bags empty. The authentic weighs, I didn't weigh the bags, but the authentic is a little heavier than the replica, and I'm assuming it's because of the gold-plated brass hardware, and I'm not sure what the gold tone hardware on the replica is made of. It is a heavy metal, but not quite as heavy as the authentic. Now, they did a really good job on the replica. The canvas matches, color matches, the texture feels the same. The stitching is impeccable on both bags, but pay attention to the stitching of the canvas on the replica versus the authentic. And the stitches are smaller or less noticeable, or is just overall neater stitches appear a little larger and more prominent on the canvas of the replica. Now, I've mentioned the difference in size of the buckles. In measuring just this top piece here from the hinge to the highest part of the center there on the authentic is a 1/2 inch high, and it's 3/4 of an inch high on the replica. Even the turn lock. The turn lock itself is smaller on the authentic, measuring at 1 inch long by 1/4 inch wide. On the replica, it measures 1 1/4 inch long by 1/2 inch wide. The leather corners on the bag are even different sizes. They're the same length across. Both of them on the corners measures 2.5 inches in length. And the replica is 2.5 inches in height. This is only 2 inches in height. So the leather corner is 1/2 inch taller on the replica bag. Also, the authentic has more stuffing in it than the replica does because in order for it to not cave in on itself as much, because it is overall a softer, slouchier bag. The patina is pretty much exactly the same. It's a beautiful honey color, slightly darker than it reads on camera. I have bags that are newer with darker patina because they've been used more than these bags obviously have been. And I'm assuming it's because of the fact that they're so big and heavy. I do have back problems, so I don't carry this bag as much as I'd like, but she's not leaving my collection because she's absolutely beautiful and a discontinued limited edition. So the measurements of both bags are very similar. Both bags measure exactly 11 inches high and 7 inches wide from that way, but the length across is only 16 inches on the replica and 16.5 inches in length on the authentic. The handle drop is different on both bags. The replica has a 1 inch longer handle drop than the authentic. The replica's handle drop is exactly 9 inches, and it's exactly 8 inches on the authentic. Both bags have a beautiful, and this is hard to do one-handed, so bear with me, but both bags have, and I do have a purse liner in here, but they've got this beautiful beige colored microfiber lining that is very soft. Both bags have the smaller pocket on the back wall with a slip pocket and a zipper pocket along the back wall. Both bags have the middle zipper pockets here. This zipper pull is a lot smaller, and therefore the font is a lot smaller than it is in the authentic, which I have wrapped with a protective plastic to prevent the zipper pull from rubbing back and forth across the zipper teeth, because I don't really want that scratched up. But what else? These rings here. This is engraved Louis Vuitton. as is the authentic, but the font is a lot lighter. It's a lot smaller on the authentic. So there you have it. You have different font on the hardware, different sized leather corner pieces, a different size buckle. The studs on the top part of the buckle next to Louis Vuitton, they'll be floating above the L and N on the replica, and they are placed below the L and N on the authentic. Measurements for both bags are similar, with the replica being a little bit off. But all in all, it was a pretty good replica, and I would never have the authentic had I not had the replica first. So I know, how the bag wears, the functionality, the size, and the beauty. Of course, there is nothing like the real thing, just like the song says. But I hope you found this comparison helpful. And if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and have a blessed day.